Boys, I have to say I was like a minute into that video, the bump one, and I was watching it. And I was thinking, oh fuck, we're 25 minutes late. I probably shouldn't have hit the bump again. I was thinking we really don't need to do this, but nonetheless, slightly later than intended, we are here. Fleet Week is back. We are a man down. We are a webcamless man down, which that was even harder to say than I thought it would be, frankly. But nonetheless, Fleet Week, rocking and rolling again. Expert panel as always. Two of the four horsemen here alongside me. Young Dukes, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. I'm glad you asked. It's not like we had a 20-minute pre-show conversation about what did we talk about again? Wrestling?
I don't know.
Yeah, nonetheless. Dukes is good. I'm good. Chris, how are you?
Feeling pretty good. If there was ever an episode for Tope to miss, it was this one because of the intense, heated debate over the vibrator this week.
Oh, I've heard some things.
Yeah, I told him.
Folks, I'm going to make this clear now because I know a lot of people watch this with their families. If you or your kid is a big Tope Suicida fan, this ain't the show for you. It's going to get heated. It's going to get spiteful. It's going to get nasty. This is part of being a team, right, guys? I warned you this when you started. I said, listen, there will be friction. There will be fights. You have to come through it together. Tonight, we're going to try and figure that out. Vibrator, as you guys know, will be coming up later. So, nonetheless, it was a big week in AEW. Traditionally, winter is coming is a big week. I know it sounds dumb to say that with only two in the books, but fuck, man, they were pretty big shows, right? Mm-hmm. Sting, by the way, I don't know if you guys I saw that this week because it was brought up. It was comparing, this week's rating to last year's. And someone mentioned Sting. That Sting episode did a crazy rating with Omega and Mox.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I assume part of that was everyone was indoors, right? The pandemic was at its height and such.
Probably.
But it's weird how like this feels like a big part of their calendar after only a couple of years. With that in mind, Dukes, what's your favorite of the winter is coming moments so far?
Probably Hangman Danielson won, just because it was like I had like a little bit of an idea that they were gonna go long. I didn't know it was gonna be they were gonna go Broadway, but it was kind of like surreal to watch it happen and like figure it out as it was happening. It's like, oh fuck, they're going all the way.
Was that the first time? Because I know you're slightly younger than the rest of us. Well, me anyway. Was that the first time you'd seen one of those in real time? The old 60-minute Broadway gimmick?
Yes. Yeah.
There you go. That's pretty fucking cool. Chris, do you have the same answer, or is it perhaps
no, it's different. I think it's the that's when they did the Kenny Mox angle after the match, right? With Callis. Yeah, it's gonna be that one. I remember after that happened, just like from where we went after that was really interesting. So probably that.
Well, I remember vividly, piling into a StreamYard much like this and going live on the Fightful YouTube channel, and the super chats were piling up and everyone said, what does this mean? And I said, well, CZW versus Ring of Honor, baby. It's time for an invasion angle, Week or two went by. I said, I think I may have misread this one, folks. So this may have not been quite what I had envisioned. Probably the best in hindsight. But we got a bit carried away at the time, didn't we? It was a different time in Fleetland. I love this. Pops me huge because the Sting moment is a magical moment. I love like personal touches like this on stories such as that. Fucking rules. Good shit. That was a great one. And obviously there's only those handful, but like, it's weird. It feels like something that we all kind of register in our brain as that's a big moment in the year. Partly because the first one had a title change, the second one had a Broadway. Like, it's a big deal, right? So it was a cool deal for Ricky and MJF to get the main event here. But going in, there was definitely this kind of perception that like this is a good lineup, but it looks a little lacking. Now that we've seen the show, I think we all know why that was, because the headline from the show wasn't Ricky Starks. Unfortunately, as great as Ricky was, it wasn't the Elite match as good as that was. It was the newest sign, I should say. Action Andretti is all Elite, folks. He defeated Chris Jericho in one of the more magical AEW moments, I think, ever. I don't think that's like being dramatic or overstated. This was an insane moment. Now, we have a lot to talk about in terms of everything involving this short-term, long-term, everything in between. But first, Chris, what did you make of one of the more unique matches in Dynamite history of Jericho and Andretti?
Yeah, so it was awesome to see like the Twitter and like Discord reaction to, and it was happening. I couldn't watch the show live, so when I saw like the notifications, I texted, I sent in a group chat with Dukes and Tope. I was like, what are they talking about? What's happening? Because it seemed like a big deal. And in retrospect, I shouldn't have done that because seeing it, as it happened probably would have been even cooler. But it was honestly, it was just as special watching it on replay just because of the crowd reaction and just the whole, not for lack of a better word, like the whole vibe of the match was just incredible. Obviously, like the finish, I think that's, for me, that's easily top 10 moment in the company. Just as a moment itself, like the way the crowd was like, who is this guy at the beginning? And they were kind of on Jericho's side and then just completely reversed it towards the end. It was awesome. And it was a great moment.
This crowd was something else. I think, without kind of undercutting the performances, that did feel like the thing that really made this special beyond anything else, right? Dukes, what did you make of the match here?
Yeah, it was magical is the right word. My dad, Chris Jericho's #1 hater, was he was, oh my God, he was riding high during this match. He was feeling it. He said, he turned to me and he goes, "You should win, you know." He goes, "What if you beat him?" And I was like, "I don't know, maybe." And he fucking 1, 2, 3 goes, "Oh my God." He put his fucking hands up. Oh man.
So I watched with my dad on Thursday. It's after I'd already seen it. And he was so hot about this match even happening. He was like, "Why does Jericho need a tune-up?" I was popping so much knowing where it's going, But yeah, man, like there's, one of the great things about wrestling TV is that you can do something very, very special to that particular format where it's like events are great and stuff, but with TV, you can like build in these kind of quirks of the way you do stuff, right? So when we see the graphic of, insert name in action, we don't really raise our eyebrows to that, even with someone like Jericho, because it's like they do that all the time. We see that all the time. Sometimes it's Aaron Solo, or sometimes it's a guy we've never heard of, whoever. Like, so you kind of build in this idea that I know what's going to happen here. It's kind of weird. Jericho's going to squash match, but I get it. He's going to do this, that, and the next thing. You do a pre-match promo where he looks towards Claudio in a rematch and Ricky Starks. He dismisses the guy as a jobber. You don't think anything of it because he just set up 2 feuds or to continue feud and set up a new one. And it's like this whole thing was just fucking perfection in that way. Like it's like you never once believed it until you saw the 3. Even when he was selling for him, you thought he's just giving him a showcase, he's just giving him a spotlight, but he'll win and it'll be like kind of Cena Angle-esque in that way, Yeah. Did Cena beat Angle? Wait, did Cena beat Angle? Did Angle beat Cena? What was happening there? Does anyone remember? This maybe whatever the fuck. But anyway, go ahead, Chris.
It was funny because like halfway through they started doing the roll-up tease.
Yeah.
And that's when you kind of started, the thought kind of starts creeping in a little more. But yeah, no, and the fact that he won, like he won.
Yes.
It wasn't he didn't steal it. He didn't he won clean. Special.
Absolutely. Like I think the roll up would have been effective, but the fact that he just like he hit like the flippy move and just pinned him clean, and Jericho got it. You're right, man. That added something to it. Also, it was just, it felt like you were watching a first in Dynamite history, and you had to be, because honestly, if you do this stuff more than once every couple of years, it burns it, right? Like it just. But these are the kind of things that I think make wrestling TV great. So obviously, we all agree for a segment. Okay, it appears that I was correct in my comp. Yeah, so I was thinking it was going to be more like this, where the veteran wins, but it's kind of like, wow, this guy just made himself a name. He went a step further here. We all like the match. We all like the segment, so on and so forth. I do want to talk about kind of some bigger pieces at play here. Firstly, the newest signee for AEW. We saw him against QT Marshall a couple months back, right, on Dark, which I know the confirmed shoot got very fired up about. A big topic in AEW is the follow-up, right? The follow-up. Can they follow up on a guy's momentum now? Before I go any further, he's had one match on TV. Like, this is going to be a challenge, even if you were great. It's hard. This is a unique kind of push. Dukes, in an ideal world, for you personally, how would you map this out in kind of broad strokes? What does this look like this next few months for Action Andretti?
I feel like he definitely needs to keep wrestling. I don't know exactly what to do with him, but I feel like at least like just be on like Rampage, just have matches. Win or lose, like you just kind of book him 50-50.
Yeah.
Just have him, go out there, people he can have like fun matches with.
Because he's not, with his style, he's not someone you would give a super push to, right? So I get why you're saying maybe 50, because in some ways, you want to kind of let him now get himself over as a worker because he seems capable of that, right? But you still need to keep him out there. Chris, what's your read on that? The kind of usage of all Action moving forward?
Yeah, definitely the same route as what you guys are talking about. Like I didn't the last time they kind of did something like this was Sean Dean, right? And it served like one purpose, and it wasn't for him, it was for that story. I think it's way more effective when you do this. It's going to affect Jericho for sure, and we saw that when he got all angry and started throwing everything. But let this be something that gives, Action, whatever we're calling him, like more some momentum. I think something that would be cool would be like put him with Top Flight or something, like put him with some other guys because they're on the come up, right? So just stick him there too as a faction or something to keep him on TV. Even if it's like that where they're working trios or they're just a faction, whatever, something like that. Keep him on TV, have him win matches. Just do something with it.
For sure, it's an interesting one, right? I think there's no obvious answer because it's with a roster this big, it's hard. Like we've seen that a million times, and that is what it is. There's strengths, there's weaknesses to that. I don't know who the guy is, and I know if you guys have got an option, but like it would be cool if there was like a babyface veteran that he could like naturally go under the wing of. But it's very hard because Jericho's been fighting the Combat Club for so long. You don't want to add him to that; he doesn't fit that, right? So it's like I don't know who the guy is. This one I like, and I'm kind of. This is the one problem to this. Franco says I'd have Jericho send one JS member to lose him every week. He can certainly beat the 2.0 guys and Hager. Right? He can get Hager in a roll up. Like that's fine. The concern would be if you keep him attached to the JAS, you eventually go back to him and Jericho. And I just think there's no real reason to like, to me, you leave that for a little bit, like you don't have Jericho beating back immediately because it's just, you're undercutting what you just did, man. Let it breathe for a second. But I like the idea nonetheless. Him and Seidel, like maybe Seidel, it's a shame Seidel is not more dynamic as a personality because he could be the veteran really, right? In an ideal way, that's part of his character. It's interesting. I don't know. I mean, again, I'm intrigued to see what they do because I don't think there's necessarily a right answer. But Dukes, do you have any idea for this veteran role? Anyone come to mind?
I'm looking at the roster right now.
Mm-hmm. The natural Dustin Rhodes.
That's the first person that I actually thought of, but it makes no sense.
Well, hold on. We can talk ourselves into this.
I mean,
Dustin walking up to him and saying to him, like, you're a natural out there, kid, Fist pump and away we go. I don't know, man. I mean, granted, he's about 2 foot taller than him, but what are you gonna do?
He's taller.
AR Fox, man, he brings up. Ideally, it would be someone more established on TV, but AR Fox could be fun. I actually was looking at for the other day. The other day, I was looking at Ortiz. Moving forward, what he does. I think that could be a fun team, by the way. AR Fox and Ortiz. That one came to mind for me. I think that would be a nice fit, but we'll see what happens next. We'll be covering that, obviously, in the coming weeks. This now kind of switch focus to Jericho. We assume this was his last match of 2022, right? That feels like a relatively safe bet. It appears from kind of just a broad look at things, this may have been his best in-ring year ever, which sounds nuts, but if you actually look at just pure match catalog, now again, the character stuff is more polarizing, and I don't think it's his best year on that front. But in ring, he's had a hell of a year. Chris, I was intrigued. What's your personal kind of standout match in ring for Jericho in 2022?
For me, and there's a bunch that come to mind. The Fatal 4-Way was great. Up until obviously the last Judas effect, but you can't win them all. I love personally the one that sticks out to me always is the Ishii match. There was just something different about that one. It was so hard hitting. It was such an interesting matchup to me, at least, and I just love the way that they played out in the ring. So I would say that. I think it's definitely a testament to Jericho, and my dad, who is also a massive Jericho hater, the other day went to me and was like, "Man, Jericho probably has a rest of the year case." And I was like, "Let's not go that far. That's Dax Harwood, baby." I was like, "We don't, not in this house, not in this house." But he gave him his flowers. I was like, "Damn, good for you, bro." But he's had a great year. Bandito obviously is another great one. Yeah, just
absolutely
great.
Hell of a run. Dukes, what match stands out for you personally, mate?
I would either go the first King match at Revolution.
Yep.
Or the Moxley match on TV. The one where Mox sat in the walls of Jericho for the entire commercial break.
Yeah, when they did the buckle spot and he just like busted open at the end. That match was incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, there's a lot of hits, and again, if you look kind of just beyond singles, Anarchy in the Arena, he's incredible. And him and Moxley pair up for the first kind of third of that. And he obviously memorably turns the music off and all of that shit. And it's got Jericho's fingerprints all over it. He's had a hell of a year. It will be very, very interesting what the conversation on Jericho is a year from now. Because I don't think it's impossible that we sit here and are like, oh, fuck, what do they do with Jericho? It's the way it works, man. If things change quickly. If we'd have done this podcast a year ago, I asked you guys what you expected from Chris Jericho in 2022, none of us would have said, 7 4-star matches or whatever he turned out. So the thing is with guys like him is you never want to doubt them because they can pull off shit like this. But it will certainly be a fun one to follow. Let's kind of talk short term for Jericho. This Ricky Starks feud, is that immediately up next, Dukes, or are we going to instead kind of look towards some more Action Andretti business first? What do you think?
I think they actually move Action Andretti away, and I think he just kind of exists as a guy on the roster for a little bit. They go into the Ricky thing because Ricky has a promo on Wednesday, I think, and I feel like Judas will probably hit something like that. This could be really, really good. But it also is probably going to go into All Out. So
yeah, true. Jericho said he called him Flavor of the Month, right? Is that what he said about
something
Ricky?
like that, yeah.
There's a very good chance that like Ricky just has like an off kind of line about him, right? Like, you said about me, and next thing you were getting pinned by Action Andretti. So then Judas hits, and away we go, and it will be an adventure. Chris, how confident are you? How concerned are you? How nervous? How excited are you for a Ricky Starks, Chris Jericho feud? Where do you stand on that heading into 2023?
Right. So on the one hand, me trying to be optimistic, I think that this is a good next step for Ricky in the sense that, okay, he lost against Max, but he's in another high profile feud, high profile match. On the other hand, I think what Duke said about like what are the odds that this rides through like half the year and Ricky ends up in like forming a stable and we get like JS Blood and Guts versus Ricky's whatever. I think short term, I think this is good. I think my final thought on it is that it's good because you give Ricky something important because a feud with Jericho, nobody can dispute like that's something important
for sure
on the show. He's featured constantly. So I think that's a good next step for Ricky.
There's an interesting kind of avenue to explore here that is also very alarming because I think one of the more natural ways to tell this story is that Jericho sees some of himself in a Ricky Starks and sees his entertainment side playing into our friend Manny's Fed merchant filth that he often spews. That is both intriguing but also very alarming because if that becomes what this feud is about, we could very, very quickly lose our way here. So I'm quietly confident because as much as the Eddie Kingston feud died a death in the end, there was a lot of good in that feud too, right? I mean, from the start, pretty much to blood and guts, I think they did a hell of a job. It just fell apart at the end there with the barbed wire match. So I will, for now, be quietly confident regarding Jericho and Starks. Let's stick with Ricky Starks. Let's move to the main event of Dynamite, the world's title match with Maxwell Jacob Friedman. I really love the match. I mean, you guys would have had the chance to actually, kind of watch it live on Dynamite. So I rewatched the next day because I was wondering if I was high on it, because I saw some people being really down on it. I thought they killed it, man. I mean, it wasn't smooth. That isn't really like a priority of mine with wrestling. Like, I just thought it had that world title feel to me. It had some drama to it. Chris, what did you make of the Dynamite main event?
I really enjoyed it. I was scared like towards the beginning because it wasn't really clicking with me. Because it wasn't that smooth. And as it kept, as the match kept developing, as it kept going, it kind of got to the territory of like, okay, well, it's a fight. Like, it's not supposed to be smooth. These guys don't like each other.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see Max kind of struggling to lift Ricky, struggling to lift Max, it's like, yeah, that's kind of what these guys would be doing. Like it doesn't look the greatest aesthetically, like to what we're used to sometimes with a guy like Brian or whoever it is. That's just everything's technically sound. But I guess part of it is like, yeah, these guys are young. This is their first match that were televised at least, and they didn't have like 20 house show matches to figure it out, I guess. But I guess that's part of also the charm of a match like this, which is they hate each other. Last week was a heated argument between the two, and they're not going to give each other an inch of anything, right? Like you could tell throughout the match that each guy had to work for every single ounce of whether it was lifting him up, whether it was a takedown, whatever it was. It was a heated battle, and it felt like just two stars going at it. It felt like a big time matchup.
I thought so too. The other thing with these guys is they are incredibly mature as in-ring guys, right? Both of them sell an awful lot, and they focus on those kind of details. And I think that helps when shit isn't looking particularly smooth. The fact that you've sold at the level they have, I think allows people to get in nonetheless. Dukes, what did you make of the Winter is Coming headliner?
Yeah, I really liked it too. I think you guys kind of hit everything. It had that big fight feel to it almost. It being in Texas obviously helps because that's where Ricky's from and everything. I really loved the that one rope break spot where he had him in the arm bar and then he grabbed his other arm and then his leg. That was good stuff. That's when it really kind of kicked into gear for me, and I was really feeling it. Yeah, that.
I will say one thing to look for with MJF that I think is happening right now, just based on his last couple. I think he's still adjusting to like he's increasing muscle mass. When I see him hitting the ropes and stuff, to me, he's like his brain is like ahead of where his body's at sometimes, like because he's used to being a step quicker. So he's probably going to transition somewhat stylistically. And obviously, we've seen him before. Like the Derby sequence is the most famous, but he's actually done it a few times. He did it with Jungle Boy, I remember, where he does like the quick kind of chain wrestling sequence, right, where it almost looks like the guys are dancing there, which I have no issue with, but that's what it looks like sometimes, right? He doesn't appear as natural in that environment based on the last couple matches I've seen. That doesn't mean he can't do it. It's just he's going to adjust, I assume. He's still having, really strong matches. I'm a believer in Max as an in-ring guy for sure. So no concern about him there. We'll see how the promos develop with this Brian situation. Brian closed Dynamite and run Max off, which was a cool deal. Where's the excitement level at, boys? Out of 10, Dukes. Brian Danielson, MJF, where you at?
10.
10?
Yeah.
My God, Chris, you there with him?
Yeah, easy.
Well, hold on. This is very exciting. Now, has something happened? Is there a particular reason, or is it just the fact that the American Dragon Brian Danielson is doing a wrestling match?
It's that one.
It's that. Yeah, he's gonna be like full fiery babyface during it too, trying to get revenge for the old man. It's gonna rule.
Do we think Revolution for this, or do we think this is gonna be New Year's Smash? What do you reckon, boys? Because this is, we're moving pretty quick here. He came back already.
Yeah,
we're moving. What do we think?
I think regardless, it's more than one match.
Me too.
I do think, yeah, maybe New Year's Smash, and you run like kind of what they did with Hangman, where it's a few matches in a short span of time, maybe, but we'll see.
Certainly would be interesting if the guy who very much would like to evoke some Ric Flair with this title run goes 60 minutes with Bryan Danielson. That'd be interesting, right? It'd be it'd be divisive. I know why. I get it. It'd be interesting, man. It would be.
In Seattle?
Yeah. Well, you could even do the old there's a Regal on Anderson match. This would work too because of the Regal bit, but where they go to like 29 and then the fucking heel cheats to win at like 29.57 or whatever. And it's like, if you did that over 60 in Seattle,
that's incredible.
That would
if he cheated in like a really blatant way, and it was like the last second of an hour match. I don't know. I totally get why there's people probably listening to this. Like, please don't do that.
But especially because we got the draw in the Hangman match. Like once they get to that point, people are gonna be like, "Oh, it's gonna be a draw," and then you just hit him with that. That
could be interesting. Yeah. You could even you can do a stip for the rematch, right? You could do a bunch of different things. Like, I even think it would be interesting if you did a deal where it's like Brian kind of corners Max in a way, and he can pick the match, and he picks a submission match, and Max has to like match him on the mat inside. He has to try to, right? Eventually, he'll find a way to kind of take an underhanded shortcut, but there's a lot of possibilities. I wish Brian had more like steam going in, but ultimately, I think I understand why you fellas are in on this because it's Bryan Danielson, right? He's pretty good from what I can gather.
Yeah. I think he has a promo next week too.
He has a promo?
He has a promo next week too, so I think after that we might be cooking.
What kind of promo are you looking for there, Dukes?
I don't know, but I think the second it starts going, I think the whole crowd's gonna be into it. I'm already into it, so
he's gonna do like the yell voice. He starts screaming, and he gets kind of when he screams, Brian gets like lower to the floor for some reason. No one really knows why.
His hair starts like bouncing all in front of his face. Yeah.
And he's gonna say something about Regal, and we give like this promo fucking rules, and then Max is gonna come out and be like, "So jolly old Saint Nick," and we'll be like, "Oh well."
Yeah, that's one that we're gonna have to separate on the vibrator, and it's gonna be like
Indeed, if you fellas can agree on the vibrator, again, we'll get into it, but there's been some heat I've heard. I read the Observer this week, boys. There was some stories in there. Speaking of heat, you won't believe it, folks. Death Triangle continue to struggle with this hammer situation. Ray Phoenix appears to have accepted it at this point. He is what he is. He looks somewhat mad, but not really mad. Death Triangle's got a 3-1 lead here in the best of 7 series. Firstly, Dukes, what did you make of the match itself here? Match 4, game 4, whatever you want to call it.
I think it was definitely the least, definitely the least exciting of the 4. But I also liked it more than a couple of the others, just because of it kind of like set up the next 3 more so than trying to be like a 5-star match or anything like that.
Yeah, least exciting by design, and I know that sounds weird, but it definitely felt that, right, Chris?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think it was a fine match. It was good, but I'm kind of like remember I said last week that if they go back to the hammer, it's like a little messy. Yeah. And it definitely was that, but I guess it served its purpose for the next few. I think this is a very necessary route that they're taking with it, with the stipulations.
Yeah.
Because we've kind of gotten stale a little bit, right? Yeah. Or at least we would, if we were going to continue on this path, we would be getting really stale with the material at least. But yeah, I think again, like we hit a point in this match where I was like, okay, I'm ready for this to kind of end. But now I'm kind of excited to see what the next ones look like with the stipulation. So I guess anything that got my excitement back up for this would be a good thing.
Yeah, I'm intrigued where you stand on that, Dukes, the stipulation business. Like, where are you? Does that help a lot for you personally?
Yeah, I think they needed it. I would have popped for all the matches anyway, just because I'm a fan of them. But yeah, and when I saw what stipulations there were, specifically Game 7, very fired up.
Big one.
Yeah,
that match is going to be outrageous, man. Like,
that whole show is going to be fucking crazy.
Yeah, like that. Those 6 guys with fucking ladders, like the ideas they're going to have is, I mean, it will go on forever, but it will be unbelievable. You just know it's going to be spectacular. There's no 2 ways about it. I'm like kind of torn where I think the series needed it, not because the series hasn't been good, but it's just like it's 7 matches, man. Like it's very hard, you know. There is kind of the only thing about it is it's very gimmicky, which I would have tried to avoid with like a sports series. The answer to that, of course, is Joe. They're using a fucking hammer in every match. Let it go, you know. And I would say that you're right. I'm sorry, it's my fault, but it's you know what I'm saying, right, Chris? Like so. There's an appeal to me of doing a 7-match series in like an NBA style vibe and feel. Vibe, folks, hear that? They're rubbing off on me here. But when you use the hammer in every match, I guess I should just accept this is professional wrestling, right? I mean, it is what it is. So
yeah. Also, I mean, again, it's wrestling, but it's like you're laying out 3 stipulations already in advance. Like it's
very gimmicky. That's all. It's not like it ain't a big deal. The match is gonna roll. I know
it's just it's very wrestling, is what it is.
It is. Yeah, it's very wrestling. And that's fine. This is what this is after all, right? I mean, you can't knock it for that, I guess. But there's one other thing I did want to touch on before we kind of move forward here is. Are you guys into them being 3-1 down, or is it like
I fucking knew they were gonna do this shit?
Yeah,
I'd much rather them do 2-2 because it makes at least the next match more you know, hard to decide. But I fucking knew they were gonna do this.
But man, you give these guys a 2016 meme, they're cooking. You know, it is what it is.
That's the problem. As soon as I think it was Dukes that mentioned it in the voice chat one night where he said they're going 3. Like I think as soon as they announced the best of 7, I think you said they're going 3-1, and I was like, oh, they so are. Yeah, they so are. But yeah, I think 2-2 definitely would have made more sense, especially with the stipulations, because it it makes them kind of more not gimmicky in a way of like not wrestling, where it's like, okay, well, yeah, these are all kind of for sure more likely to happen. But now if it's 3-1, it's like, do we need to have, you know what I'm saying? Like if it's I don't know, it's wrestling, it's gonna be, I'm sure it's gonna be fun, but it was just
I'm with you, bro. When they put the graphic up of all the matches, I was like, oh, come on. Come on. But again, folks, this is like the most minuscule. This is
I know,
shit,
it's nitpicking.
We all agree the match is going to be awesome. We all think the matches thus far have been really great. It's little things. Franco cheered 95 bits. Thank you so much, Franco. No matter what they say about you on Discord, I do like you very much. Take that with Dukes, by the way.
Well,
Everyone on Discord needs to know Dukes has been tasked with sending me a report. Full report, a comprehensive report on the behavior of all involved. Discord late night green. So
he gets the roster and he has notes.
Yeah. Franco may want to reach out and try and bribe young Dukes, because could be some trouble, brother. You accepting pay for that gig, Dukes?
No,
you're not. Well, fuck, what a pro, huh, Chris? You hear that? What a pro.
I love the team. I love this business.
Jungle Boy Jack Perry, he beat Brian Cage, and then they did something that was like genuinely awesome in the post match. Sometimes with Dynamite, they do the logical thing that while it makes sense and is safe, it isn't like necessarily inspiring because you expect it. This is the kind of shit I'm looking for. Hook making the save here, that reaction, it made sense. It wasn't completely out of left field because it's like, the Moriarty match Hook just had. It's like there's some link there. But honestly, even if it didn't make sense, I don't give a fuck, man. These two dudes together, this is some good shit, man. Chris, what was your reaction to this potential Hook Jungle Boy business?
Yeah, so again, this is one that I was watching. I was watching the recording of it in the Discord, and Dukes was kind of like, Chris, where are you in the match? Where are you in the match? Where are you in the match? And I was like, I was kind of like, what's he talking about? Because the match to me was okay. It was fine. It was decent. Like I like the pairing of like, short athletic guy, bigger dude. It's cool. And I'm like, dude, what is he talking about? Like, what's gonna happen? And then I heard the music hit, and I was like, oh, now we're cooking. Like, here we go. So I'm really excited for this pairing. I've really wanted to see Hook on TV doing something important for a bit now, and I know it's hard with like his style and how they've been booking him to do that consistently. So, especially this pairing, giving them both something to do. Obviously, Jungle Boy, it's been like a foggy path kind of with this whole Christian situation, especially with the injury now coming off the Luchasaurus thing, to see what he's going to do. I wouldn't say this is like the natural next step, obviously, because I don't think any of us would have predicted this, but it's definitely something that's going to, I think, highlight two young guys that, realistically don't have a natural next step right now. So this is something, cool that uses both of them, and that's probably going to spotlight them really well.
Dukes, what'd you make of this?
Yeah, it rules. When they eventually climb the tag rankings and lose to FTR, it's going to be great.
This is the thing. So are you predicting an extended run here, Dukes? Are you saying they're actually going to climb the tag rankings? What do you think personally?
I don't know if they will. I think they should. I think it'll be fun.
This is my problem is I agree with you. Like them as like a young heartthrob babyface team is real graps, you know what I mean? The only issue is it's like it feels like all of the top teams are already baby faces. It's like, fuck, how do you even figure them into it? Chris, where do you stand on this? Is this best as a one-off thing or short-term thing, or are they going to be a team for 6 months, a year? What do you think?
I think it's best served as a short-term thing, but something that like down the line, when they cross paths, they're on good terms and they can team for a one-off whenever, if there's like, oh, Jungle Boy needs a partner and he's against two guys or whatever, that would be something interesting where this is like a long-standing friendship type of deal. I wouldn't be I think that's also a great idea. That's something really cool that they could do and then eventually lose to FTR. Like, I'd love that match. But
that match would be awesome. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, yeah, I could see them writing this out until Christian comes back, honestly. That's definitely a possibility too. So
that's interesting. Yeah. We may have something here, boys. Jungle Hook versus Jarrett's World.
My God.
Now.
Who's Jarrett's partner?
Satnam.
Okay, yeah, I'm in.
That Hook Satnam match would do crazy on YouTube, bro.
Factual.
That shit would have like 100 million views in a day.
I need Taz on the call for that. Need it.
Oh, yeah.
That's the El Camino, bro. Yeah. Oh, man. That's the Red Room, brother.
Taz like starting his line with like, I have experience working with bigger men, and Jim Ross just being like, they're all bigger, Taz. Like, chuckling to himself while Taz gets really mad. No, in all seriousness, if the two matches within that were Hook and Satnam, Jungle Boy and Jeff.
Yeah.
Jesus, that'd be awesome.
I mean, you talk about Rampage's ratings, brother. That's the route, right? That's the way back. But it will be interesting. This is one of those things where it's like, if it's just a little deal here to view with the firm, that's cool. But there is a chance that when we see this in action, we're all going to be like, oh, fuck, this is a real act. And they're both so young, there's no rush, right? You can have these two as a real team for a little bit, and it could help the tag division. Now, again, it ain't ideal in the sense that you've already got, your top teams of baby faces anyway, but sometimes you have to kind of make things work for the sake of a grin, so to speak. All right, speaking of grins, I really like this Ruby Soho Ty Mello match. I was kind of disappointed by how little love it got online. I thought they killed it, honestly. They was not trying to have like a 5-star match. They were trying to have a brawl. And my God, did they brawl. I mean, Ty always hits hard. This is the best she's looked in some time. But this is Ruby really upped the physicality here, right? She was doing that before she went away. The last few months we were talking about it, that was a thing that she'd reworked on. This was like a new high in that regard, I thought. I really liked it. Ruby and Ty, Dukes, what did you think?
I fucking love this match. I wasn't worried about it, but because I knew I was gonna like it no matter what. Because I'm just Ruby Soho is like probably one of my favorite wrestlers just on the roster in general.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes she needs to like lay it in a little bit more, and her stuff doesn't look like doesn't have as much snap to it as other people. But I thought this match was fucking awesome. I thought they like killed each other.
It was good. Hey Chris, Destination Unknown? Hardly. Destination is Duke's fave list. Am I right? The fave 5. There you go, folks. Chris, what did you think of this one?
Yeah, so I honestly was a little worried because I do love Ruby, but I have that same thing that Dukes is talking about like she needs to lay her stuff in more. And my concern was also, especially when she's in the ring with someone like Ty, who is like she hits hard. Yes. It's very obvious that she lays her stuff in. But yeah, no, it was awesome. We need to see my thing with Ty since the whole Sammy thing has been like we need to see her in singles matches more because the longer that she's not in them, we group her with Sammy, right? And then everyone has their idea of that whole situation and that deal, that act. But she's awesome. Like the pump kick is like her. She's awesome. She's so good at that, and just everything. Like as I think she's in ring like one of the strongest that they have. And like so sometimes I feel like with the women's matches we don't get that like it feels like a fight, and I feel like every time Ty's in there with the physical, like she doesn't let up. So it's awesome to see that. I want to see her on TV more, and I'm very glad that Ruby switched her finish from the that kind of kick she had. I know we talked about it a lot. But that's big thing for me. So I'm super like I came out of this match feeling great about both of them.
The other thing with Ty is I mean, I completely agree with you on her work, but as a heel too, like she's a great heel, and she was a great babyface, right? She was infectious as a babyface, but she's really, I think, been tremendous as of late as a heel. So yeah, all positives here. This is good shit.
I think especially like in a division that gets a lot of, I wouldn't even say hate, but like it gets a lot of criticism. Someone like Ty is a consistently good TV wrestler that's going to get a reaction. So I think putting her on TV more would serve everybody well.
I agree, and I think hopefully this kind of last couple of months here have been a step towards that. It was a while there, as you kind of mentioned, like where she was just a valet, right, which feels like a waste of what Ty can do. So here we go, folks. It's time. Speaking of waste of what the people can do, it's time. It's time for the infamous vibrator segment, folks. I will narrate here accordingly. and the young fellas will chip in or when I ask questions, or if they just feel the need to explain themselves, which will happen very shortly. First, though, there'll be no disagreements here. The impeccable vibes to kick us off. This was a unique start of show. This was not your usual, just what does the song say, Dukes?
Light the fuse.
Thank you very much. Light the fuse. Wasn't your
Bring
usual light the fuse. Wasn't your usual bring the boom.
Dynamite.
It was unusual in the sense that we had the NBA gimmick, which led to impeccable vibes. Dukes, this is a moment in history here to start with impeccable vibes. Is this a lock every time the show opens with that particular theme insert, or is it more the fact it was the first time we'd heard it on Dynamite?
I think it's going to stand the test of time.
Oh my God, there you go, Chris. Any comment on the historic impeccable vibe open here?
I honestly, when you just pulled this up right now, I remembered that I had no say in this part of it. But I don't disagree. Mm-hmm.
Very fair. I respect that, Chris. Good, always a good pro, Chris. He's the calm head. We'll get to the more fiery elements in a moment here. Game 4, good vibes feels like a solid. It wasn't more than that, but it deserves to be good vibes, right? It was a good match, damn good match. We fall off some for the MJF promo. Was the main issue there length for you guys? Because good lord, it went on for a while, didn't it?
Yeah, it was a little long.
Yeah, absolutely. That's that. I think honestly, that was the only thing that had the slight decrease.
Also, when he does like the whining, like crying voice, making fun of Ricky, that shit fucking annoys me.
It sucks, yeah. All right, we have some controversy ahead here, folks. We fall dramatically to mid. Jeff Jarrett's incredible assault of the Acclaimed, in which Sanjay Dutt bumped Max Caster on his own because Jeff didn't want to do any physicality until he got in the ring, and instead just walked out with his arms aloft with a guitar. Mm-hmm. And I believe he circled the ring so he could shit talk some of the fans because he knows ball. Look, guys, I mean, most people agree with you, but most people aren't hosting the show right now. This feels a little aggressive, this mid drop. I mean, could we not get pops?
I would
in the middle?
I would like to state that during the making of the vibrator, Chris was not there. And I was fighting for Jeff Jarrett in the voice chat against Topic Suicida, the man who's not here today. Because he's a coward.
I mean, for scissor this slap nut alone is pops. I don't know what we're doing here.
Tope had it at shits. I was very upset.
Whoa!
He did. Crazy.
He's lucky he didn't show his face here. Right?
He's a fucking hater. Well,
I mean, he never shows his face, but All right, nonetheless. Okay, I'll accept that. Any bad ratings here, folks, we just have to blame Tope. That's the rule we've decided. We've locked in here. But
that's exactly what we're going to do.
I can explain all of them, too, because he's a piece of shit.
Jeff will bounce back when they have the bunkhouse match. It'll be okay.
Oh, my God.
We then leap towards Pops, which is Jericho announced his tune-up. Fair enough. We climb slightly higher again for the Brian Cage Jungle match. Chris, you mentioned you was not you thought it was decent. Dukes, where did you stand on the actual match itself?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I didn't think it was blow away or anything like that, but it was fun.
Chris, where are you at on Brian Cage at this point? Where do you stand on him in general?
I mean, it's so weird because I for the Ring of Honor show, I praised him a lot, and I don't know, this just wasn't something about this match just didn't work for me. I don't know what it was. I can't really describe it.
I think part of it is, and this isn't even a knock on Brian, but I think that audience kind of doesn't really take him seriously as a threat, because whenever he's actually on the main show, he just gets beat, right? He's not he hasn't really been relevant on Dynamite in truth for a while. I am maybe part of it, but
I think since Daily's Place, him as a real threat on TV has been
since he got kicked out of Team Taz.
Yeah, that's probably the right timeline, right? When was I know that he wrestled Ricky in Texas, which was the first month back out of Daily's Place. I remember that being a thing. So it's probably the right. That's a couple. What is it now? 18 months ago,
basically. Yeah,
it's been a while. We then leap forward here. Now this is interesting here. We have the biggest bitch of them all, which was of course what Jack referred to, Big Bill, which is the new official name for those who are unaware. Then we get Hook, no Hausen. But I see no impeccable vibe here. That seems controversial. Is the biggest bitch element taken away from the Hook? What's happened here?
There's a certain person that takes part in curating this list. This chart.
And
he's not really here to speak his mind, but I'll do it for him. He sucks. And he hates professional wrestling.
Wow. How low was he on this, though? I mean, I'm sure you were locked in at Impeccable, right?
Yes. He wanted it at Good Vibes. I couldn't stand for that. I tried my best, folks.
Wow.
He's a tyrant, is what it is. We'll just say it. We'll just say
because he's the one that physically
has the last has the last say. Really.
Yeah. We can't actually do anything about it because he actually makes it.
There's another one. Wow. I think there was we after the fact we kind of debated that one less. There's another one that's coming up in hour 2 that we'll
get to it.
I
got very upset.
Yeah. I'm gonna stress again, folks. If you're watching this with a young child who enjoys the Tope Suicida, this is not the show. I stressed that earlier, didn't I, boys? But it's about to get worse. So just hang in there. Mogul shit followed this. Was there a swerve segment? What was?
Yeah, there was a swerve pre-tape. Tope Suicida wanted that on the chart. It is his favorite wrestler. To be fair.
Favorite male wrestler. Favorite
male wrestler. You're right. I'm sorry.
My God, who's the favorite female wrestler?
We'll get to it.
We will. Look at the radio hooks that Dukes is throwing out there right now, folks. Incredible stuff. House of Black over the Factory. I assume that's what that means with the arrow, not better than, because that would be a lie. This was fun. They missed the highlight spot with Brody King murdering someone with a crossbody.
But they did get the other highlight spot of Buddy doing the Murphy's Law onto Cole Carter's lower into the yam bag region on the table. I don't know why he put Cole on the table that way.
No,
it was very bad. He almost broke Lee Johnson's neck and Cole Carter's yam bag with one move. Very real effective.
Real grab.
The table also did not break.
Where are we at on House of Black at this point, Chris? Are you? Oh my God. Hold on a second, folks. Hold on a second. This show's about to take a
no
dramatic turn. No.
I have a couple minutes, but I just tuned in to the world famous Fleet Week.
It's got really bad. It's got really bad.
There's a little bit of slander going on from the.
There was a lot. I believe
who used to be my friends. Tyrant we used multiple times. Yes.
Not wrong.
Okay, look, Toby, you've only got a couple minutes here. Explain yourself. What's the deal with Jeff Jarrett? What's the hater? Come on, what's the deal, man? Come on, we got a couple others. Let's get through these quickly. Toby, explain yourself.
Jeff and Entourage, will almost always be in the shits unless I laugh out loud during the segment. That's how
you don't know ball.
That's asking a lot. Okay, next, let's talk about this Hook business, bro. Good vibes only for fucking Hook making the save for Jungle Jack. Are you kidding me? What's the deal, Tope?
Okay, so again, we got the momentum here. All right, we got Cage, Jungle Jack. That was good, not great. Fun match. Yeah. It can't shoot up to Impeccable.
Yes,
it wasn't that great.
Tope, we make the rules. Yes, it can.
All right, well, fair. Okay.
All right, let's move to round 2 here. Let's just look, folks. Let's get to the headline because we'll talk about the rest, Tope, because I understand you're busy.
All right.
But with all due respect, there's one segment here. It's near the end, folks. Here you see emotional cowboy update, and you'll see that it's well rated, right? Unquestionably. I mean, it's a good rating. But there was a lot of internal fighting about where this should be, how high it should be. And I'm told, Tope Suicida, that you declared it simply cannot be truly Impeccable Vibes. Please explain yourself before departing.
So originally it was just me. Chris was busy, so it was me and Dukes deciding this. I had it at Good Vibes. He had it at Impeccable. I was like, all right, good compromise. We went in between. Then at 3 a.m., I was bombarded and attacked. I wake up the next morning and I see I'm demanded that I move it. So I bump it up, But
Not enough.
All right, my point was the Jericho "Make Yourself a Star" kid that was impeccable vibes. That was better. That segment was better than Hangman's promo.
Wow. Two things can be true.
Can I read the texts?
Always read private messages on this show. Always.
I don't even know what they are. This is fun.
So
I honestly don't know either.
I put, again, this is like 3 a.m. because this is when I was watching the show when I got back home. And then, so we got Duke says, at Tope Suicida, we want Hangman promo at Impeccable. The next day, Tope Suicida says, whoa, big ask.
Duke's, I forgot this.
Not true.
Duke's replies, that shit damn near made me cry. It's impeccable. I said, has to be impeccable. I put all caps. He forgot his kid's name, damn it. Dukes puts, he looked into those green eyes and he didn't know. He didn't fucking know, Tope. Tope says, I'll give you 6.75. Duke says, explain to me how it's not impeccable. I said, hater. Duke says, I would like to hear his reasoning, even if it's wrong. Tope says, I had it at good vibes. And then he puts like the shrug. He put the shrug emoji, and Duke's put fake Hangman fan, and that was it.
Damn, that's.
I would also like to point out. I know I'm not. Chris is the lawyer here, but I would like to point out Tope Suicida's use of numbers.
Oh shit!
That's another one.
Just saying.
Oh shit!
Gotta go, guys.
Tope, do you have any comment on all this? Oh no, he's gone. He got too hot, folks.
Couldn't handle it.
As soon as legality came into it, he was gone, man. No chance.
Why do you think he doesn't show his face?
All right, let's pick up where we were here. God bless him. That was quite the run in. Okay, Sky Blue. Of course, Sky Blue would be the next segment. I've just remembered this is fucking Sky Blue sets up Squash and the Dentist, which came in at good vibes, which Tope was suggesting should be the rating for the fucking the hook segment. What do you guys have to say for the aforementioned, the recently departed Tope Suicida? Sky Blue, man, this getting out of hand, boys. It's gotta be careful here.
Listen, he's so spiteful, and he's just wrong all the time. It's insane. No, this promo was very good. I liked how Sky Blue handled it. I thought she came across like very confident, and yeah,
good. But the same as what a gentleman is proposing that the hook segment be. I mean, couldn't it just be pops, Chris? I mean, this is just, like, I feel like he's getting a little bit carried away with the Sky Blue business.
Joe, negotiation is negotiation, right?
Yeah,
and sometimes we have to let some of these things slide. But again, this guy's a tyrant, right? We give him this, he doesn't give us any pull. So it's tough, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fine. Was it a little overrated on the scale? Maybe, but it was fine, and what it led to was also fine. So it's all right.
Okay, good answer, Chris. Very good answer. Okay, up next, we will agree on the Jericho business, right? We've discussed it before.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lock for impeccable vibes on any week. The Richard Starks promo, which was very good, which outdrew Max's here on this vibrator, which I think is fair as the consensus, right? He had a hell of a promo.
Yeah, and it wasn't like fucking 6 minutes long.
FTR Arse Boys also coming in at good vibes as Pop Me. I don't remember anything from this.
When there are multiple pre-tapes in a row,
yeah,
it does slow down the show a little bit, unless the pre-tape is the next one we're about to talk about.
Chris Jericho throwing things around.
I'm the Ocho.
Look, man, he's special. Jericho is
incredible.
He's unbelievable, man. Him throwing shit around, yelling his own nickname. It's beautiful. That's real great.
Retreating into his locker room was
and then like zooming in on the Jericho thing on his locker, like beautiful. Time Ruby we have here at Good Vibes. I don't think it's fair. Nothing wrong with that. We've discussed the emotional cowboy. The Duke's, seeing as he is your fave, alongside Ruby Soho. Do you have anything else to add on this promo? It was a hell of a segment for Hangman, in all seriousness.
It was fucking awesome. It started, and my dad was like, "Where's he going with this?" And then about like not even halfway through, when he got real serious, and he did the eyes up at Marvez,
Yeah.
Evil Uno and his casual fit behind him, which is very funny. We got locked in. I teared up. It was magical.
If I was the booker and like we shot that promo, I would be so mad at Evil Uno. Like, bro, like really? Like you're there, he's doing this best promo of his career, and you're there in the fucking flannel with your mask on.
This was Hangman's equivalent of, I wouldn't say it was his best promo, it's definitely his best pre-tape. It's his equivalent of Mox's promo when he talked about his daughter holding his finger.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of.
It was awesome, absolutely. And I just kid, folks. Good for Evil Uno. God bless him. He's just on Twitch like us, but he also does wrestling sometimes. You got to respect it, right? It's good shit. The main event here, Above Good Vibes, which I think, this was the highest rated match, right? Unless I think on the show in terms of vibes. Which, I think it's fair. Nothing too crazy. And then the American Dragon, a big peak, for which obviously you fellas stressed earlier, your immense excitement. Is it fair to say that you guys were a little bit gun shy in terms of the impeccable vibes this week? Last week you may have got a little bit carried away. Yeah.
We're in the process still. We're recalibrating the vibrator, Yeah.
After breaking it, we really needed to take some time to ourselves, have the week to kind of just we need to rein ourselves in a little bit, right? We can't be outlaws on Fleet Week like this and just bombard you with these insane ratings. We need to be more careful with what we have on top, and that's why we're so adamant that like specific segments should be higher than what they are, and that's why we need to keep fighting the fight against the tyrant Tope Suicida.
I'd agree. I also would like to say, I know Dave watches this. You could have done the same thing once upon a time, Chief. You know what I mean? You could have that recalibrating. It could have happened for you too. But
it's too late for him, but not for us.
Exactly.
In so many ways, that's true. Rampage. John Moxley wrestled Sammy Guevara, and Sammy Guevara has been especially aggressive as of late. This appears to be something the Blackpool Combat Club have really ventured to bring out of him. I know the Danielson matches, especially, he worked Brian's eye and such, and here he was really targeting Mox's ear, which created quite the visual. Does a more aggressive Sammy Guevara higher or raise his ceiling, Young Dukes? Or are you in the same place? He does.
Especially for like his in-ring. I think it elevates him a little bit more.
Certainly makes him a more compelling watch as a heel. He's definitely kind of leveled up as a heel worker, I think, in recent months. Chris, where do you stand on Sammy Guevara at this point in the game?
Look, I'm going to be so honest. I thought it was disgusting. When he kissed Ty,
that was gross.
It was tough. It was tough. But I think he's kind of, when you kind of I think he like overthinks the heat that he gets, and I think kind of Tony is at fault there a lot too, with like kind of misinterpreting the heat that Sammy has sometimes. But I think when he doesn't overthink it, and he's in there with a guy like Mox, who I'm sure like doesn't let him overthink it, it works well. The visuals here were kind of crazy. I thought my favorite part of the match easily was when Sammy was hitting Mox with the forearms to the side of the head, and his whole forearm got all red. That was really cool for me. Man, I think they just have to be careful. Honestly, with me, I don't. Sammy has his issues as to why people dislike him, and it's different reasons, and a lot of valid ones, right? But as in ring, sometimes I think he's kind of getting his rhythm back. I think with was it the Full Gear, it was 4-way at Full Gear. I thought he was the MVP of that match. So yeah, I think he's got it in ring. It's just they need to find out. They need to find a clean way to book him, where it's not where he's getting heat, but it's not the one that he's been getting recently.
I like your point about him being more instinctual rather than like overthinking that part. I think a little bit over the summer, he looked like he was really trying to wrestle with someone who's not Sammy Guevara, and he was trying.
He was trying to lean. I think he was trying to lean into the reaction more than just be himself.
Yeah, and the reality is, as himself, he's always been a really strong in-ring guy. I think he just needs to be instinctual and go out there and fucking whack guys and be physical. And I'm sure he ain't always a thrill to share the ring with because he looks like he's kind of wild in there. But guess what? I ain't sharing the ring with him, so I don't give a fuck about that. I think it's fun to watch when he's wild in there. I want him to do more of that more than trying to be like a kind of WWE heel, which I thought he kind of lost himself a little bit in the summer. He's on a nice run here, man. He like this Blackpool Combat Club stuff has been his best stuff since he was the TNT champ, right? It's probably like end of last year, that part of the run. Yeah, it's good shit. Moxley's obviously John Moxley. What do you want from us? I mean, it is what it is, man. All right, let's move forward here. Britt Baker and Sky Blue. Thumbs up, Young Dukes.
Thumbs up.
Chris?
Go
ahead, Dukes.
I thought the match was good.
Yes.
I thought the post-match fucking ruled.
My God, look at that. Dukes, he said, I need to add a little clarify here. Mm-hmm. Make clear how big the pop was. Chris, what do you think of Britt and Sky Blue?
Yeah, I agree. I thought the post-match was great. I thought the match itself was really good. Sky Blue is developing really, like in ring at least, especially with this match, you can tell she's really developing nicely as a TV wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the selling was great. I love that, as opposed to kind of the last few months, she got a lot of offense in, which was really cool to see.
Yeah.
So yeah, more of that is cool, whether it's on Dark or Elevation or whatever. Seeing more of her is going to be good for her too, just to get more reps on TV. But yeah, no, I thought it was great. I thought Britt gave her a lot. It was a fine TV match.
Duke, is this what you were trying to say?
Yes.
Jamie Hayter good.
Also, Hikaru Shida good.
My God, swinging with the hot takes today, bro. I like it.
She smacked Britt with the kendo stick. That was crazy.
She's fucking awesome. She rules. Are you guys into Trent Seven? Answer that if you'd like to. That was my question.
I don't know. This match was fun though.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to ask. Really, I just wrote in my notes. Are you guys into Trent Seven? That was the best I could do, really. Chris, are you into Trent Seven?
See, I think it's in my best interest to no comment that, but it was fun. That's it. That's all.
That works. I'm fine. We'll kind of revisit this here shortly. All right, next week we just mentioned it kind of very, very briefly. Jamie Hayter and Hikaru Shida. Dukes, I know you're a hater, so to speak, right? This feels like if it has time, it's the right crowd, it has like best women's title match in promotional history ceiling. I'm not saying that's where it'll be.
Factual. Because
there's always a lot of factors with TV, but this could be crazy. How excited are you, Dukes?
I'm very excited. Jamie Hayter put out a tweet that says she's going to whoop her ass like it's 1990s All Japan women wrestling.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, we're playing real music.
Apparently.
I like to hear that, bro. I like to hear it. A tweet increasing your excitement for a match? Oh, fuck. This really is a special occasion.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Chris, you into this one? The women's title match next week? This feels like it's got a lot of potential.
Oh, absolutely. This is the style of like women's wrestling that I like, is their two styles combined.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really excited to see that. Definitely. I think it has, best women's title match potential.
Yeah.
So.
It's a big one too for Jamie's reign, right? Getting underway. It's very, very exciting. Right, a couple of things here, and then we have something kind of special to close with. Firstly, FTR guns. Is there any interest for you fellas on this? I'm intrigued because I've heard so much good about the guns, about seeing it with my own eyes, that I kind of want to stick. They seem to think this is a big match.
Yeah.
Which tells me that the FTR guys think this is going to be a big deal. Maybe it will just be an 8-minute match, but good Lord, they've been building this for a while now. I mean, they must have something up their sleeve here. Chris, do you think there is more to this, or is it just going to be like a fine little tag match and that's it? We move on. What do you think?
So, like, my instincts are telling me that it's just a fine, they get it out of the way. But the length of the build, kind of, the integration of them to like the Briscoes thing, them costing them, or not costing them titles, but like them just being involved in that whole situation, makes me think that it's going to be, pretty good. I like the guns, honestly. I think they've been solid. And yeah, I think there's definitely something I think, honestly, from the looks of it, I think all four guys are excited about it. I think there's something to FTR, like working with with those younger guys. I think that's something that's probably important to them, and I think the Guns are obviously taking it as they should be, which is like this is the biggest thing that we've been a part of so far in our career. So I think that I really hope that they take advantage of that opportunity and that this is a match for them where, like, you know how the Acclaimed had some matches where, like, okay, they're now they're players. I think that they definitely have the potential to do that here.
I like them as heels. Like, I think they're a nice team, but it definitely, how long this gets and the way it's produced will be very telling as to where they're at, because I am firmly of the belief that people in the promotion see them as the heel team for the company right now. Whether that's by necessity or by design, we'll very, very shortly find out. Dukes, what do you think? Is this going to be a kind of big time showing for the Gun Club here?
I hope so. I remember this match has happened before, if I remember correctly. It was short, but it was still like it was good. It was solid because FTR did their thing, and they're not going to have like a bad match on TV. But I think it definitely has a higher ceiling than the first match.
Yeah, I believe they wrestled. The Gun Club were the team that kind of turned FTR babyface. So they were at ringside when Dax wrestled Punk. Okay. And they were shit talking FTR. And then the next week they did that match. And that was when the whole thing was happening with the Pinnacle. Remember where MJ was trying to get them to help him with Wardlow, and they were like, "We're cool with Wardlow." That was that time. So that's around 8 months ago now, maybe 9 months ago. So it's going to be really interesting. They are certainly a young team who are more suited to FTR's stylistic strengths than like a top flight. Now, I like the top flight match a lot, but that's a lot more uneven, disjointed as a matchup than like this. Look, if there's a team in the world the Gun Club can have a great match with, this is them, right? They stylistically, it makes sense. So we'll see. We'll obviously cover that at some point. Maybe not necessarily next week, because I believe next week is Christmas Day. We shall get back to in a second. Trios match. Game 5, we all know the deal with that. The Elite are winning, obviously. They're going to get to Game 7. It is what it is. Nothing wrong with that. Right. As I mentioned, next week is Christmas Day. Week after that will be in 2023. So let's finish this with something a little special. Assuming this is the last Fleet Week of 2022. I believe there's been like 3 episodes, but still, lore. Let's close out with a little bit of little award season. Let's single it down to AEW only, which is important, right? When you talk about guys like Moxley and Dax as wrestler of the year, they did stuff outside the promotion that helped them an awful lot. So let's quickly kind of go around the room on this. Who is, in your guys' opinion, the AEW Wrestler of the Year? Exclusively their work under that All Elite Wrestling banner. Feel free, we can talk this out. We don't need to have like an immediate answer. Dukes, who is the first name that you go, that's my immediate response?
Does Ring of Honor count?
No.
Jon Moxley.
Chris, you agree?
Yeah, Jon Moxley. I think he served honestly probably the most important role in the company this year, with given everything that occurred both times, coincidentally the same person for different reasons, but I think just him as an asset to the company this year was unmatched, really. And I think there we hear that there was a lot of sacrifice on his end in the second time that happened. So I think he was really important to the company. I think he's the MVP.
Yeah, the matches have been great, don't get me wrong, but it's been much more about kind of what he's meant symbolically for the promotion, right? And what he represents the promotion. He's the ace now, he's the guy. And that will never change no matter who has the belt, because it's more of a kind of a stature thing than anything else. You could argue he already was that, but this year has gone a long way to cementing him. Who would actually be second on a because we talk about Dax a lot, but with Dax, if you take away the Ring of Honor and even the Aussie Open match, like who's next for just AEW? Who's the next guy, do you think?
I feel like
intriguing.
Jericho's probably high on the list. I don't want it to be him, but
I think it probably is Jericho on just AEW.
2 or 3 at least.
Yeah. I guess Ring of Honor would limit him. What would he actually lose, though, from the Ring of Honor show? Just the last one, right? With Claudio. Because all this other stuff was on Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's Jericho. Yeah. That's very, very interesting. Jon Moxley and Chris Jericho, 2 of the original top 2 guys, right, of the promotion.
I know Max missed the summer, but his first half of the year was fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And
for sure.
Him with the chip was, it happened.
The
build to the Mox match was very good, and I think he's been good since he's been the champion.
Very fair. Brian is always worth mentioning. Brian's had some killer matches. The Garcia trilogy, the Moxley match. Both of them were very good. The Revolution match I loved.
Mm-hmm.
There's other stuff that I'm forgetting because I have a very bad memory these days. But yeah, Brian's definitely compiled a lot of great matches for sure. His years felt uneven for a range of reasons. So yeah, Punk did it. Look, Punk absolutely did some great shit. It's a shame there was so much time missed because when he was around, he was fucking hitting, unquestionably. So, okay, so we got Moxley. I think that's the clear right answer. Now, this one's interesting. Who is the tag team of the year for AEW when you limit it only to AEW work? Does that take FTR out of the top spot and put the Acclaimed in? Or like where do we stand on that? Because so much of FTR's highlights are outside the promotion. Swerve and Our Glory comes on this.
Yeah, I think that might be my pick.
Swerve and Our Glory.
Yeah. Swerve and Our Glory have...
Especially the way they won the titles.
They have the stuff with Team Taz. They have the double or nothing match, the triple threat, right? They have the title win. They have the match with the Lucha Bros on TV. And then they have the Acclaim series. Yeah. I think that's probably right. It's so wild that FTR's tag year is going to go down as one of the great tag years ever, but the high-end stuff is almost all outside AEW. It's been bizarre in that way. I like the Swerve and Our Glory pick, I think. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I think so too, especially when you... Like we mentioned the Acclaimed, right? But especially when you take into account what they did for the Acclaimed, I think that's big. I think it was so interesting to see because a lot of times we can criticize like makeshift tag teams where you just put two guys together and you throw them out there and whatever. But I think it was really carefully, booked. I think they at the end of the day it felt like a real team, right? And they were. And I think they had an interesting dynamic in the ring, the way they played off each other. Towards the end, we kind of had like the dramatics, with their breakup. Even though I guess the last one was in Ring of Honor, but I thought they had a great year. I think they're my pick. The Acclaimed is probably a close second.
This one's tough. Women's Wrestler of the Year is hard because I think Toni Storm is a really obvious candidate. Toni came in March, right? So it's not too much missed time. But it's like it took her a while to get going, right? Like it took her a little bit there to get moving. The issue is a lot of the obvious candidates are there's like a missing piece. I think Tony's probably the right choice.
I agree.
Jamie Hayter is... It feels like she's the right choice in the sense that like how much the year has meant to her as a career, like how much her career has exploded. But work-wise,
it's up until like towards the end of the year.
I tend to agree. That was my instincts too. Tony was the one who worked most consistently, which unfortunately, and this is the conversations that make you really realize like where the division needs to move is like, unfortunately, most of the division has just not consistently got a chance to have good matches on TV. Like it's so start, right? So that's saying that obviously needs to improve. Toni Storm, I think, is the rightful winner there, and she did a hell of a job with the interim belt, which now thankfully is counted in the official lineage. All right, last one I'd like to get you guys read on. Rivalry of the year for AEW's 2022. This one's really intriguing. I kind of think Max and Punk get it for the first leg of the year, but what else would you guys put forward? What do you think?
I think that's
Wardlow.
Interesting. Problem with Max and Wardlow is it was such a great story, but there's not a match, right? There's not like a.
It was more just like a.
That
was kind of the period on the end of the sentence,
Yeah, it ruled absolutely, but because you get the two matches with Max and Punk, I think it's hard to beat. What are the other contenders? What are the other contenders? I like Swerve and Our Glory Acclaimed as a shout. I like that. Jericho and Kingston would have been it, but the blow-off sucked. Very fair. That feud was very strong for a while there. It kind of bums me out how few contenders are off this one, I have to admit.
Yeah.
And I think part of it's because so many guys were sucked into that Blackpool Combat Club Jericho thing, right? Like so many people were involved in that.
I think that's the biggest problem with that because I was trying to think. I was like, Mox feuds, Brian feuds. I was like, nope, it's all the same.
Yeah,
I think it's MJF Punk for me, but I think Swerve and Our Glory and the Acclaimed had some really fun segments too.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I think that's close, but yeah, I think I'd go Punk and MJF.
Yeah, saying that hopefully, like when we do this in a year, hopefully that's saying that we can see more of like true personal conflicts and rivalries. You don't want to do too much of them where it kind of waters that down, where guys are really heated, and because you can overdo that. Like I think sometimes people want every match to have like a heated. In fact, that can kind of muddy the waters in some way. But I do think by the end of the year, you should have more than they've had this year that really stand out, and that's something to look at kind of more broadly, perhaps moving forward. But
I hadn't thought about it before, but I mean, if Brawl Out doesn't happen, MJF Punk is probably like the runaway.
Yeah, because it would have had a whole nother chapter to it.
It's also worth knowing that Mox and Punk, for what it was pretty fucking good, right?
Oh,
I mean,
that's true.
Oh, I can't when they first faced off. That was after the Jericho match, right? Oh man.
And that all-out match and the squash match was spectacular. I mean, they were great. So that's a good one too.
I think going into the next year, it's gonna be interesting how we look at Hangman Mox, because a lot of the good crux of it has been I think we've seen it a lot. So I don't know. It's gonna be fun to see how long that goes.
Absolutely, I agree completely. Dukes, how would you sum up AEW's 2022 in kind of a broad strokes way?
Weird,
yeah,
but fun.
Mm-hmm.
But fun, but not like didn't hit his potential. I don't think.
Yeah, this is gonna be like this is such a cop-out answer, but it's like what happens next year will very much decide how this year's seen in history. Because if they come back stronger than ever in the next coming months, because let's be fair, the last month they've been doing some great TV.
Mm-hmm.
2023 is their best year yet. You'll look at this as a necessary like fall to rebuild because maybe the Punk stuff wasn't sustainable, whatever it may be. If next year the cracks widen, this will be seen as like a real important moment for promotion in a negative way. Chris, how would you kind of summarize 2022 for AEW?
Yeah, I don't think it had the opportunity to reach its potential. I think there's a lot to be learned about it, though. And I think, definitely next year is going to say a lot about how we view this year. I think we're still, like, it's hard to say now because I think we're still, as good as the last month of TV has been, we're still kind of in that bounce back.
For sure.
Kind of the low point where it was all messy and we didn't really know what was going on. I think they have rebounded very nicely so far. And seeing where we go in the next, I think, quarter of 2023 on, like once we now that we have MJF's like, his run kickstarting, it's going to be interesting to see how we look back on it. I do agree.
It's definitely nice to say that they feel like they're in a nice, like they feel like they've got positive momentum going into the new year, and they've got some new markets they're going to be hitting. As you said, they've got a new champ. There's always, the roster is stacked. Like, look, no matter who leaves, that roster is just loaded. You're going to have to lose a lot of fucking bodies for that roster not to be awesome. Like, I try and stress this a lot because it's true. So they feel like they're in a more positive place here moving forward. It'll be really interesting to see how they manage this long build to Revolution. Still got a couple more months. Like, it's going to be fun. I agree with this too. The women's division, while, look, it's obviously not a complete mission by any means, is definitely the strongest it's been thus far in AEW. Question: if you're asked right now to pick someone to beat MJF, who is it?
Kingston.
Hangman. Well, I think Kingston can beat him. I think that actually both answers are right because I think King can beat him, then Max can get it back, and then Hangman's the one that.
I think Eddie over the summer getting like a short one.
Arthur Ashe.
That works, and I think Hangman. The only other name I would put forward that intrigues me is Darby.
Factual.
So I would pick Hangman. Yeah, but I think they're both right answers. It will be. I hope the Eddie Kingston thing is not a thing that we've just invented in our heads, which I do worry sometimes.
It has to happen. We booked it. We were booking it in the Discord last night. We picked out King's special music for that night and everything. He's gonna come out to Hail Mary.
Hold on. It sounds like it's some good shit. All right, I like it. Absolutely not gonna happen, but fucking rules. I like it. Yeah, it'll be interesting. That'll be one of the big stories of the year, right? So we have a lot of time to cover that. All right, there you go, folks. Fleet Week in the books once again. Chris, any final words, any plugs, any promotions, or anything else to sign out
on? I guess follow me on Twitter if you want, my wrestling burner. Just keep watching the show. Again, it's very fun for us. We enjoy doing it. And yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for watching.
Chris, do you have any comment at all on Jay Shell wishing Dukes?
You see, hold on. I wanted to address this. Thank you for reminding me.
Pop.
I want honestly, I want us to do a show with Jay Shell because I think it'd be really fun at some point to get that done.
Great.
I did laugh a lot because I did interact with Jay Shell a lot prior to her taking her hiatus. So
wow,
it stung a little bit. It stung a little bit, I will say. Especially being compared to Dukes was a tough one. It hurt a little bit, but yeah, no, I love Jay Shell. She's great.
Absolutely, we'll have to get her on here one day and show Jay Shell the vibrator. There it is, folks. This is Dukes. Any final words?
Fuck you, Tope Suicida.
That's a good one.
That's very good. You can follow him at Duke's Grin, right? On Twitter.
Sure, if you want to. Or don't.
Probably going to be off next week, based on it's Christmas Day.
Yeah, probably.
What do you want from us? I mean, you can still see the Young Lions. They'll be on the Christmas special. Hopefully, assuming the Tope Suicida shows up to work, that piece of shit. I've heard that. Yeah, many people have been saying that. We appreciate you guys. The support for this show has been great. I've seen a lot of positive sentiment towards the vibrator and all that good stuff, in all seriousness, which is all on these fellas here and Tope Suicida, but fuck him, so forget him. So on these fellas here, support them. Let them find their way in this deal because they're very, 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 very good already, and they're going to get a lot better. Here's the deal, folks. We're washed, all right? The core, we're fucking cooked, all right? I went to wrestling rehab in New York. I came back. I've had a couple good shows. I know where I'm at in my career, you know? This is my King of Television run. You know, is what I'm getting the last out of me. This is the future of the platform. I know, right? Whatever you make of that, you will make of it. But at the end of the day, we're heading into 2023 with the young Lions ready to graduate, ready to get their own finishing moves and their own fucking ring attire and their own gimmicks. You know, Duke's going to be Switchblade soon. It's going to be a bit uncomfortable, but you got to let him do that, okay? Let the young Lions grow. Let them find their place in this platform because they're already doing a pretty fucking good job, if you ask me. So, appreciate you fellas. Follow them both on the Twitter gimmick. Show them some love to them. They're doing a good job. Don't be mean unless it's funny, in which case be mean. That's good.
That's true.
And we'll see you again shortly. I'll be back on Tuesday for Grin Grappler Goldberg episode, 12 bouts of Bill. What's the grin equivalent of Bertman walking away from a derby? Tope. I don't know. I'm going to think about it because it's pretty good shit.
Playing a skip clip.
That's good. Very good. Yeah, I'm back Tuesday for 12 bouts of Bill, the Goldberg Grin Grappler. Wednesday, the Dynamite thing as usual. Dynamite Grin Long flagship. Probably nothing tomorrow. A little bit more quiet as of late. Lots of recording and shit going on for stuff that will be posted later. So bear with us. Let it play out. We appreciate you all tuning in. Keep grinning. All hail and enjoy this outro.